Good morning, and welcome to Deep Coherence Technique Quantum. Um, yeah, hi everybody. Everybody's here. Good. So, day 10. Yesterday, we talked about the idea of our life being like a vacation that we've planned, plotted, looked forward to. But then, as soon as we arrive, we get amnesia. It's a really useful analogy, and it's one that I personally am going to revisit every time I get into too much questioning, too much analysis, too much leaning into searching for answers outside of myself. Today, I'd like to introduce another analogy. It may be one that you're not familiar with in terms of the show, but if you're able to access the show or watch a pet part of it, I think it's really powerful. I think it's a bit like the matrix in its usefulness for making an idea land in a way that makes sense. So the show is a thriller series. It's called Severance. You can watch it, I think, on a few channels. You can just Google it. It's a new show. And the premise of the show is that there is a corporation that is really mysterious. We don't quite know what its point is, but it has a cult like attitude. Um, it actually has a cult religion running it. We don't know what the product is or the services. It's very mysterious. There are no windows on a lot of the floors. But the main deal about Lumen as an industry, as a corporation, as a building, is that the workers all have their minds wiped, their memories wiped as soon as they go through this scanner. So you've got the person who is on the outside, they're called the outie. They know everything. They know why they're going to work. They have volunteered to get their minds wiped. But the innie, the part of their consciousness that is inside that building 24/7, as far as the innie is concerned, Monday to Friday, they have no answers. They have no reference. They have no idea even who they are. All they know is that they appeared in this corporation. They appear magically every day. And at the end of the day, they disappear. So the show is called Severance. And the two parts of the consciousness are the outie that knows everything and the innie that only has a fraction of the information available to it as regards its purpose, as regards its identity. Now, why is that useful? Well, I'm sure you can immediately see and grasp the idea that we are the innie. We are put down here, we come here rather, and we can feel like we're just dumped, that we just show up one day, and that at the end of it, we're just going to disappear. And we spend all of that time in this environment looking for clues, looking for the reason why, when the reason why was the reason we're here in the first place. So the reason why is your life. The reason how is your life. The reason who is your life. That's it. That's the whole point. Now, in the show Severance, I think what is really, really interesting is that the innies, the characters that are on the inside, begin to break out. They begin to test the confines of their structure, and they find ways to get out of that structure and to connect and get a message to their outie, the one on the outside, to say, hey, it's not what it seems like in here. You need to get more involved. You need to not abdicate. And I think for many of us, that's how our relationship with spirit can feel. It can feel like spirit just left us here, no clue, no roadmap, no guidance system, in a world that is just full of experiences. And it's the innie, it's the inner part of us that is pushing the boundaries of this matrix, of this corporation, lumen, metaphorically. And in fact, most of the self discovery, most of the journeying, most of the action is initiated by those finite innies. And I say finite because at any time the outie can terminate its contract, its employment with the corporation, and that innie ceases to exist. There's no trace of them. And the outie can just go on about its life. So in a sense, I think that that's kind of a really interesting analogy. And I want to say that next week, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the aspect of the innie, the us, the finite, the human, and the potentiality that we have as co creators and as manifestors. And that, in fact, just like the innie in that show, we're not just meant to be mannequins and puppets dangled on a string. We're meant to get our hands dirty. We're meant to terraform and have high action, high agency to change the environment. And I don't know about you, but I don't think there is a better time in history for us to get involved with what's going on actually here on this planet. So, yeah, what is it that this life is inspiring in us? What questions is your life already answering for you? Are you looking for the answers outside of the corporation, the matrix, when a lot of the answers are already here? A lot of the clues are already here. So bringing your focus back into the present moment, back into this world, into this now reality of which you have volunteered to be a part of as an engineer and a co creator, not as a passive puppet, not as a leaf blown around in the wind. You came down here, two boots on the ground. It is not easy to manifest into the third dimension. 8 billion is not a lot, it's not a large number when you think about the gazillions of beings there are out there. It isn't easy to manifest into form, but we did it. So we are equipped to manifest, we are equipped to be co creators, we are here to engineer worlds. We are the frontline workers. So if you want to know the answers, just look at your life. Look at the balance sheet right in front of you. And the answers are going to come up to whatever questions you have. Now, we practice in DCT Quantum a different kind of meditation. In fact, it really isn't a meditation at all. And if you're just new here, stick around because I think you're going to get some value from it. But for those of you who have been doing DCT Quantum with me, we've been every single day taking away a little more of the props, the things that make us coast comfortable, that tickle the fancy of the monkey mind and rest out the ego, calm it down. But the thing is, that is no way to really masterfully train the monkey mind, and that is no way to embrace the ego in a way that's healthy. So when we free fall into no props, into stillness and silence, and when we begin to learn the language of resonance, and that can only come without words, because words are a friction in the quantum field. They create local friction because our words carry a resonance. They carry meanings that we haven't always ascribed to those words. It's because they're artificial. They were created by other humans, not ourselves. So, understanding and mastering the language of the quantum field, which is waves, resonance, vibration, frequency, all means the same thing. Learning that, we can only learn it not prescriptively, but by experiencing. And we can only experience if we get out of the way and we just allow the waveforms to land, to resonate within us. So today, all I'm going to do is this. For each step, and what I'm going to invite you to do, you know how normally we move and do all the rest of it? We're going to internalize that. And here's the reason. You may need to do DCT one day in a place where you can't just move around, you can't just speak out loud. You may need to resonate these waves very quickly and get into a deep, grounded, centered space. So, this is a technique you can internalize, you can memorize inside, and use this every time. Now, I'm not going to do this every day. I'm going to just do it today and see how we go. Okay. That is not easy. I really want to acknowledge that doing DCT with no props, with no hand movements is not easy. And if your mind came in and filled it with nonsense chitter chatter, if you felt uncomfortable, if you drifted off, if you had random thoughts, if you lost your thread, your flow, that is completely normal, because what we're doing here isn't natural. We're Think about it. We're internalizing a technique designed to create coherence, and we're using the language of vibration. It's not something you're raised to do. So, this is really the most powerful part of DCT Quantum, because DCT is a 5-step technique, is there for you. It's been documented. I've done it enough times. I'll do it again because I quite enjoy guiding people through it visually, because it helps me. But developing the ability to be still for this much time, and to be able to go from one step to a to the other, and eventually get to the point where all of the infrastructure is inside of you, and to the point where your monkey mind and your ego doesn't get involved, where you're able to be centered for 15, 20 minutes, to come deeply into coherence. That's quantum. That's sanctum. Those are disciplines. Those don't just happen. So give yourself a pat on the back. Seriously, that isn't easy to do. But the more we practice, the more it's going to become natural. And it doesn't mean we have to do DCT that way all the time. There's something really lovely in coming together and sharing these words and guiding ourselves visually together. There's something lovely about that. But I think it's really, really important for us to also develop these inner muscles, this inner resonance, so that we don't rely on a group or an individual or anyone else to get ourselves centered and coherent. So, again, pat on the back. Not easy to do that. Even my mind, and I say even, especially my mind, wandered a lot through there. But just being able to bring it back and to stay focused doesn't mean you have to get it perfectly right. But just notice what the stillness produced in you. There were probably moments and pockets where you felt the resonance. And if not, don't worry. It doesn't matter. We can keep practicing. All right. So well done. That wasn't easy at all, but it's there for us. The quantum is more real than all of this other stuff, all of the chitter chatter. It's more real than anything. And if we can get familiar with it, then we really can begin to grasp how interdimensional we are. We can connect the outie and the innie through coherence. So have a beautiful day. Really, really have a beautiful day, and notice what you notice in the quantum field. We always end on that. Notice what you notice in the quantum field. And I will see you again very, very soon.